Today marks the end of an era for us here at Christ Church Cathedral. I know you're all wondering what it is. Yes, alas, it's the end of our summer sermon series. Over the past 3 months, the topic of the power of connection has been our guidepost, inviting us to consider the myriad ways in which we are, without a doubt, bound to one another and bound to God, who knows us and who loves us. We have found that we should always be seeking opportunities to strengthen and deepen the links that keep us together. As we say, we who are many are one body. As if on cue, we have Paul's letter to the Romans as one of our readings this morning. Now, I don't know about you, but I love the letter to the Romans. I also love Paul. He is an oft misunderstood, too often used as a bludgeon, writer of sacred scripture. And Romans is his longest and most synthesized piece. It's a book full of how-tos that reflect a growing understanding that this Jesus of Nazareth, the one who preached mercy over vengeance and unlimited grace, is who he said he was. And that his work in the world, God's work, is decidedly not finished. It's only begun in a new and different way. Because of Jesus' life, death, and resurrection, we, as human beings and as followers of the different way that Jesus called and calls us to, we are invited each and every day to some very specific actions. There are 3 of these actions I'd like us to dwell on this morning, and y'all might have begun to catch on that I really like this do it in threes thing. It helps you remember it easier. So without further ado, number 1, realize where you are situated. Reorient yourself to the reality that you are part of the body and that your membership in the body is important. So important, we might even call it vital, that which brings life. Your individual presence as part of the community of Christ, as a citizen of humanity, and as a beloved child of God, serves a necessary function. No one can bring to this body what you do. It's like a famous recipe only you can make. It's America's Got Talent, but nobody, and I mean nobody, can do what you do. You are irreplaceable. We need you. Your gifts are unlike anyone else's, not because they're better gifts or more impressive talents, but because they are your gifts and your talents. Yes. You bring something special and essential to this body, and we need you. We must always be aware that our membership in this great thing that is much larger than ourselves. 2, do something with your gifts. Now, let me lead off this string of ponderings with a caution. We are not supposed to always be doing something with our gifts. That's a surefire way to bring about disaster, burnout, exhaustion. Rest and Sabbath are essential to both our personal and our corporate wellness. We must rest from our labors and then labor from a place of rest. So, you folk who are always doing, always moving, always giving, give yourself a break. I know who you are. We know who you are. So please rest. As my spiritual director is fond of reminding me, remember, Thomas, God does not desire burnt offerings, but living sacrifices. And I'm going to say that again so it sticks. God does not desire burnt offerings, but living sacrifices. And that said, we are expected to use our gifts. It's a sacrifice of time and talent and treasure to invest in building up God's people around us. Look at all the people who are here this morning. Look at the folks who have given of their time and abilities to show what membership in this body looks like. From our ushers to our musicians to our acolytes to the folks who do the unseen behind the scenes. This is what the body looks like. And sometimes we might even consider asking the body, what gifts do you see that I have? Have I not noticed them myself? How might I use them better? What do we need? How could I meet that need? Gifts are to be discovered and shared, not socked away and preserved. So, by way of review, 1, we should see ourselves as individuals within a community, a holy collective composed of essential parts. 2, we should realize that those parts are to be used, and used well. And now we arrive at number 3. 3 is a bit more foundational than 1 or 2. It's more of a prerequisite. It both undergirds and reflects the question that each of us must answer in our daily walks of faith. Because yes, we are connected to one another as a body, and yes, we are unique and bring unique things to the table. But then there is this. Number 3. Jesus Christ is the reason we are the body we are, and have the gifts we have, and are sitting here today, and will leave here invited to do God's work in the world. Jesus Christ is the reason for that. That is the most powerful part of connection. Because when we realize that we are members of one another, when we realize that we have something to give to the world, we are answering Jesus' question anew. Who do you say that I am? How would we answer that? It's kind of hard to do with words, isn't it? I mean, how much time do you think you would need to sufficiently answer someone if they ask you, who do you say Jesus is? It's quite the daunting prospect, and I know that I struggle with coming up with right words. How can words consolidate God? So what do I usually turn to? I say, here, let me show you. And my showing doesn't usually involve telling to answer the question, who do you say Jesus is? My showing is here. Look at this group of folks who are constantly and consistently seeking ways to more meaningfully connect with their God, with one another, and with themselves. Look what tremendous gifts they have to offer. Look at what God's people are doing. So, friends, this morning, I would invite us anew as we finish up summer, coming to the end of this era, as a new program year begins at church, as a new school year is well underway around us, see yourself as essential to who we are and what we do. See yourself as a vital piece of this community. You are. You are. And who do I say that Jesus is? I say, just look around.